Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Grubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists. It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hello, everybody. This is Robin Grubel, and welcome back to the Canine Detection Collaborative. I am here with my super duper co-hosts, Crystal Wing.
Hello.
And Stacy Barnett.
Hello.
And we've spent the last few episodes talking to some incredibly fabulous people about things that they're passionate about. And for Liz, Bobby, and Melissa, and talking about everything from self-care to caring for our physical stuff with our dogs to search and rescue sport. And so we're just going to do an episode reflecting kind of a all mashup of all of those things and some of our big takeaways. One of my big takeaways that's kind of mashed up with all of them is the whole concept of habit stacking. Even today, I was training dogs, and then I set out some hides for Flair. And I went out and did chores, and I took care of a sick donkey, and I ate dinner, and I walked downstairs to a little early with the puppy. And I was like, oh, I'll train the puppy. And then I'm standing there and I'm like, wait a minute. I put out hides for the drug dog. I better train the drug dog. And so I did. It took me 7 minutes to do her whatever little thing she needed to do. And I was like, check that off for the list today. I was like, look at me go.
Yeah.
And so that it was one of those things that, Crystal, you often say that my future self is really going to love my current self.
I try to make my future self happy.
Right. And so I was like, oh, look at my current self, thank my past self for doing something smart. So that was one. And then I went out and bought Cavalettis for the dogs because I was like, I've got one dog that needs to learn how to appropriately use her hind end to go up the stairs instead of doing her still puppy hops up the stairs. And
would that be a Flash?
No, this is Sheba.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's never learned going down the stairs. Everything else, she does the full extension thing.
Huh.
But it's just, I think it's a learned behavior. So we will work on that. And then Nico always needs help because he's a bull in a china shop. So
I get that.
Yeah.
One of the things you said, I'm going to kind of hit on there is the one thing that Liz said was that she does an insert and not invasive. And that's how things become easier for you. So along that kind of habit idea. And I was really surprised, Stacy, when we asked you with Liz, kind of how you started working out and kind of putting it in. Yep. And it didn't feel like you had like a specific, I do it with this activity or this is what triggers me. It was just an overall feeling of progress. And that's the number one thing that has been like so hitting me in my soul is about we have to feel progress and we can feel that through our strength. We can feel that through our mobility. We can see that through our dog's strength. We can see it through their increased stamina and endurance. We can also see it in our training. And that's the thing that I've really been focused on so much lately is just that with my teams that I help, if they're not feeling and seeing and perceiving progress, sometimes like I had a real one that happened with club recently, I realized that I had to go, okay, I need to actually tell you what's happening because you're not seeing it because you don't know what to look for. So having that criteria. And I saw that with everybody we talked to as well. having the criteria to know what is advancing, so you know how to feel that progress, and that progress is what creates motivation. And just that action to create the progress that creates the motivation creates that cycle that is just it's addictive. It's just like, give me more of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in addition to the progress, right, it's also, I know when I really got started, I guess I've been working with Liz for a couple months now, and I definitely feel different. I'm starting to look different, which is really cool. I mean, right now, actually, today I'm having a little bit of a setback because I twinged my back a little bit. I have some serious back issues. And so that's frustrating for me just because, I'm get cranky at my back, irritated at, the situation that I'm kind of working through. But it's made such a difference. But I think, when I got started, like to just get that habit going, to kind of tee off of the habit idea, is that you have to have a little bit of a driving force there. You have to have like a reason why you're creating the habit. And for me, honestly, I want to live without pain. Like that's really what it is. I really want to live like pain-free here. And if I can like build my core strength and everything, that's going to help my back out. So that's like my number one. It's like try to get stronger so that I have less pain that I'm dealing with. So I think with that, it helps to create some of that habit. And now I'm also kind of thinking about like I've been in Florida for a couple of weeks now, a few weeks, about 3 weeks. And I am training my dogs almost daily, which is really, really cool. So it's creating that habit, right? But I have a goal, right? I'm training for a certain goal, for a certain event. And I think if we want to create a habit, that the idea of the habit stacking is also, if do you have a goal? Do you have something specific that you're trying to achieve, can help to keep that habit going? At least that's kind of what I'm experiencing.
And I love how she said that we need to have both. Bobby and Liz said this in different ways, that we need to have a well thought out plan based on our body. Yeah. So either based on our body or based on our dog's body. And for Bobby, she talked about how we had to have a well thought out plan for both of our bodies because, our height, our strength, all of those things also impact how we interact with our dog. And that takes me also to the importance of having the right coach at the right time that can set you with the strongest foundation. And so that's been a big part of my why lately, I think, is I don't want to waste time. Robin had a great post just today. I don't know when it's going to be. It's on one of her Thoughtful Thursdays, but one of the lines that hit me really hard, you know what it is, Robin?
Take the
Not to put you on
time.
the spot, right? Like, what did I post today?
Take the time now, or basically it's take the time now because it will take less time.
Yeah.
And that's 100% it. It's get the right people to help in the beginning. Spend that little bit of extra money or time or energy to do it right in the beginning. Yeah. And that pays dividends throughout. And that's been a big piece for me.
Yeah. Don't cut corners.
It's interesting for me to listen to us think about that or talk about this. And we're thinking and actually talking about, the little incremental progress and things that you can see get better. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a progression plan.
Yeah. My head was kind of going there too.
Yeah. And it's whether it's for your dog.
Right.
And I was like on a trainer's high when I sat down tonight because little Miss Flair, I've been working with her for the last 2 weeks to knock the rust off. The rust was really thick.
I know how that feels.
And I was like, oh, girlfriend, we're having to start. And we didn't have to start all over, but it was like I had to remind her. I was dropping her threshold, and I think I initially had dropped her threshold too far, too fast, too soon. And so I went back and just spent a couple of days at a little higher threshold, and I put really low threshold hides out today, and she nailed them. And I was like,
nice.
And she sat pretty and stayed there and like all 500 other things. And I'm like, oh, but it's the time to go back and just nope. Okay. We got to do this progression. You know what? I'm not going to go out and be able to run 3 miles.
Right.
God knows I can't even do a half mile at the moment.
I'm like 3 miles. What?
I know. I just pulled that one out of the air.
I can walk 3 miles.
Right. And my knees are like, no, you can't do that. So, but we get so impatient for results.
Yeah.
Or we get the whole, and the Thoughtful Thursday was today about actually even dealing with the peer pressure of trying to keep up with I need to get my dog certified by the time it's a year, or it's 18 months, or, all of this other stuff. No, you don't.
Yep. That was a good post, by the way.
Thank you.
I liked it a lot.
I like your Thursday posts. They're really nice. They're thoughtful.
They're thoughtful. Amazing how that
very,
works,
very
isn't it? It's amazing what you can get away with.
I'm thinking a lot about the whys, and the ones that I'm kind of thinking about, and I start to almost get them mixed up, because fitness is fitness, and having those goals and having those whys. I like how both of them think about how the body moves and how the body works.
Yeah.
And so also thinking about how the dog works. And so I think it was Bobby that talked about looking through binoculars, because I had mentioned to Holly Bouchard and how she talked about like looking through a camera, and it's the little spot focus, and it gets bigger and bigger as we go out. Yep. And then one of them said that you have to be, it was Bobby, I know for sure on this one, that she said you had to be exposed to it, but then exposed to it over time. And you can keep picking up those pieces and keep getting better at what you're doing and what you're seeing. But I love how both working with myself, I can start to feel individual muscles work with Liz, and then I can transfer that. And I like one of the things Bobby had me do in the seminar was she said, if you're unclear on what muscles it's working, one little hack is to kind of do that yourself with your body. And so see how you want to get those muscles to work by moving your body to at least get you started. And so if you wanted the dog to like shift the weight, and what muscles is that actually working and activating? So having our body awareness helps us then become more familiar with their body awareness. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing. And it helps us see. And so much of it I go back to is paying attention, really, because you're paying attention to so many things. Like you have to pay attention to what surface they're on, because she was talking about how the slick floor crates that can create that slouchy sit. Paying attention to how your dog moves. And if you don't know what to look for, that's where that kind of binocular view happens. And so the canine conditioning really helps us hone in on what our dogs should be moving and how they should be moving. And then we can actually see that in the field, and we can see that in the competition. Yeah. And that's going to make us so much more in tune to those change of behaviors, because before maybe we didn't notice, because now we're so in tune to the slight little muscle tension and flex and that weight shift. And so those things we didn't even know to pay attention to before just made us even better at our job in detection, which I'm really super excited about. And in the progression plan that you mentioned, I love how with both exercising myself and my dog, I need to know what my goal of the exercise is.
Yes.
What is my criteria? And as I get that one muscle to tense and be able to hold that a little longer, well, there's my progression plan. First, I had to find the muscle. Then I had to figure out how to actually make it work. And then once I got it to work, well, now how do I actually activate it in that just particular exercise? And it goes all the way to the application stage of, well, now I'm doing another behavior, like maybe a full squat or something, and I want to activate that within that squat, and I can feel that. And I can now see that in my dog as well. And I love that it's setting up a clear criteria and already a progression plan. And I'm getting better at that through my canine conditioning, my conditioning, which then makes me better at my dog training progression plans. Oh my gosh, stop me now.
Wow. It just it also triggered some thoughts about, maybe this might be, it just kind of like different thoughts that you were saying just kind of triggered some other thoughts that triggered some, anyway.
Sorry, I yapped for a long time.
This may be completely disorganized thought. So just, that's just kind of like I'm warning everybody, because I'm just going to try to see if I can put this together. I was kind of thinking about how, what Liz talks about with how all the different pieces of the body come together, and like how they all, like, for instance, I'm always thinking about my, back, but tells me a lot about how, and she was talking about also on the podcast, is how every other piece of our body goes to how everything's connected and how it all then supports the back, right? But like things where, she's got me doing some, upper body strength because it helps to support this part, which supports that part, with all supports comes together, the core, which supports the back, right? And it just kind of hit me listening to you and thinking about what Liz is talking about and the whole aspect of foundations with our training. And I mean, honestly, if we just go to like detection training, if you think you can just go out and imprint an odor and then go out and go find stuff, good luck, right? Because there's all the other pieces that come together to create the whole package. And that's kind of like what happens with our body and how to exercise our body correctly, because it all comes together. It's not just, well, I need to get my back to be better. That just honestly just hit me right there. And was that coherent? Because I don't know, it was coherent in my
It was,
head.
absolutely.
I don't know if it came out that way. But that's just kind of where I was going.
And how it's all, I know all the listeners would be highly shocked to learn that we're daily having conversations via messenger or text or whatever. And having those conversations about, even today was, I need to stop eating sugar because it makes things swell.
Yeah.
And, when you're dealing with a knee that's uber cranky anyway, all of that additional, and I am a stress eater. When I get stressed, I eat, and I usually eat horrible things for me because goodness knows cauliflower doesn't quite do it when you're feeling stressed.
Oh, yeah. When you're dealing with, sick donkeys or whatever. Right?
And like knee deep mud and right. So it turns into this whole sort of thing of, my future me will really, really thank me tomorrow morning. I did not eat a bunch of sugar today. I will also not have a 4 a.m. hot flash in the middle of the night. I know, oversharing, you're welcome.
No, I'm sitting there going, I'm probably going to have the 4 a.m. hot flash. So thank you very much. Because
that happens.
Did have the sugar today. So
yeah.
There you go.
And I have even gotten into the habit of, I buy all sorts of boxes of berries and they sit in my fridge. So when I have that sweet tooth need, I open the fridge and like blueberries or blackberries or raspberries usually don't make it very long, can jump off the shelf at me instead of me digging out some M&Ms.
Oh my God, we have these things. Well, they're not berries, but so I'm in Florida right now. And right now you can actually get produce, like fresh produce. It's amazing.
Oh, yum.
I know. They have this thing. Have you ever tried a honey bell? Or I don't know if it's like I think it's like this Florida secret. It's like a hybrid between like an orange and something else, but it's kind of like this like uber juicy, sweet, like orange kind of deal. They're amazing. I had one today. Like you have to like eat them for the single amazing. Like they're just incredible. They're just so juicy.
You talked about the stress eating. So one of the
sorry, I went off on a tangent.
It's okay.
We're still there. We're still on food. The stress eating that I've been doing since probably not everybody's a Facebook friend of mine. Go figure. The last couple of days have been kind of stressful in my world. Checkmate was supposed to get his total hip replacement. So I drove 8 hours to Ohio. He had his, what was the first thing? The x-rays, they knocked him out for that. They checked his skin. They said, yep, he's good to go. This is what he's going to need for a better quality of life and to not hurt. And then the next day they knocked him out. They did the shaving and they found basically a zit. And you can't have anything like that on the skin because you're doing a super invasive procedure and we can't take any chance of infection getting in. So I'm super thankful. So not complaining, but it just made for a stressful kind of trip when you're driving that far. You're taking 3 days off work. And so then I was fortunate enough that I could go ahead and leave Tuesday. So I wasn't going to miss Wednesday of work. And then my tire blows up on my way home.
I'm just so thankful you're safe. Like that is just.
Oh, it was so scary. A 1-ton van. Scary. And the 3 dogs.
I saw the picture and your tire is like gone.
Oh, it blew up. Yeah, it blew up. And so then to find out that my mechanic local that sold me the tires, which I should check, I should look at the book and see, but I didn't. They put passenger tires on it and it's supposed to have 10-ply tires and blah, blah, blah. So then I realized all of my tires, when you feel the face of the tire, they all have big bubbles on them. And a couple of them have like a big dent in the side where it's like the steel belts are breaking. And I was truly like, I don't know if I'm going to get home or not. So 2.5 hours of just terrified driving home, but I made it. But all of that to say, I have been putting on some pounds stress eating. So Georgia Mud Fudge Blizzard and, all of the food on the road. And it's just it's comforting, but it's terrible because I have Lyme disease. And with Lyme disease, it's from a tick. And that tick gives you bacteria, and that the tick feeds off of bacteria, and it's just constantly, the more that you feed yourself sugar, the more that it's feeding the disease, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what I woke up feeling and complaining about, because I hurt so bad this morning. My hands feel like they have glass in every knuckle. And an invisible illness sucks because other people have no idea. They think that you're just the same person you were the day before that didn't hurt. So you talked about, the hurt, and we talked about it with Liz too.
Yeah.
And then I also find it interesting because almost all of my dogs have had Ehrlichia. My old dog Quinn that just passed, he had Lyme, Rocky Mountain, and Ehrlichia and was treated for that. And because of being aware, and that goes back to when they were talking about you're able to start seeing things.
Yeah.
Like even when Quinn tore his biceps tendon, you would think, oh, well, that should be really obvious. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
The only reason I knew it is because maybe once out of 20 times, if he would stop sudden and turn around, I would see the smallest little change in his left front foot, the angle of it. And even when I took him to the vet to get him checked out, he jumped over the 4-foot pony wall as I was there talking to the receptionist. And she's like, why are you bringing him in here? And that's where, those observation points become so important. And so just being aware of my observation points of, look, I'm hurting worse than I normally do. My pants are feeling snug. We have to be better observers and pay attention to ourselves and to our dogs to take better care. And that goes back to that self-compassion episode even.
Yeah.
And there's been so many questions and people have been so kind. And my gosh, the feedback from that episode
was amazing.
People love,
wow. I just want to give everybody a hug that, keeps like, I needed that. I'm like, oh, hug.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, there's so much to be said for taking care of ourselves. And I love too, I think it was Liz. She talked about how the mobility and the exercising starts to build confidence in ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it builds that self-care habit. But I would like to say that doing the exercises with our dogs definitely builds their confidence too. And it builds our teamwork and our relationship.
Yep.
And it definitely sets us up for not only just our strength training, because she was talking about how mobility sets us up for strength training, but I think it also sets us up for all of our training and our detection, our apprehension. It just gives you that connection that you need. She mentioned 9 handling. She mentioned, adding movement before an injury happens. And I was like, oh, preach, sister, right there, because you can really see what a dog is capable of in their extension. And then you can start to notice when they're getting tight. And I do the same with myself. Even now, I make sure every day I look left, I look right, I look up, I look down, and I'll notice, I can't look near as far right today for some reason. And then I realize, well, now I'm paying more attention to my back. There's the knot that's stopping it. But if I wouldn't be thoughtful and aware first thing of just my mobility, it also gave me the confidence to start working from my neck down to my spine, down to my shoulder to find my problem. Whereas before, I wouldn't have known how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much. I got so much from talking to everybody. I'm just blown away.
I did too. I did too. And it also really, a lot of them have been focused on, it's Canine Detection Collaborative, right? We're talking about searching. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. And I think that's where a lot of people focus, right? And I know like a lot of my students, they focus on training of the dog. And what I loved about these last few episodes is that they care for the other pieces that enable us to really become and to train our dogs to where we want them to be and to become the best like team we can with them. It's kind of the whole package, right? And it also opened up my eyes to, number one, my own fitness, and how important that is. And number two, the fitness of my dog. That's not just, it's not just the searching, it just really, I mean, I always kind of knew that, but it just kind of underlined it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of, and just watching, I'm in training like every day. Right. And we're Florida right now is getting, we've had some record heat. I know everybody else is like freezing. They're having like snow and everything. Right. I mean, it's been in the upper 80s this last week, and we've been training hard every day. A couple of days I was able to, which was really cool. I could get into a warehouse for a couple of days, and it was like super hot in the warehouse. And I'm just so proud of my dogs for just like, they're working hard and then they're recovering quickly. So they're able to work in that environment. And I love the conditioning that they're getting. And so for me, it was not just the training. It was also thinking about how, their conditioning is improving. And ultimately that's going to make them into stronger dogs.
And I think that we look at, our dog's fitness, and I've said this repeatedly. I'm always more worried about what my dogs are eating than what I'm eating.
Yeah.
And which is still true. It happens.
Always is, right?
It is. But it's also really interesting for me to start thinking about, Flair, for example. She's been on maternity leave. She had a litter of puppies at the end of December.
Yeah.
And I know the 2 months prior to that, we did not do any detection work.
Uh-huh.
And even before that, basically, she was just running. So her diaphragm was out of shape.
Yeah.
And so I know the one question that you asked Bobby was, well, what exercises can you do for diaphragm work? And, she had to think. And the answer is sniffing.
Right.
And so I also realized that, I've been now up and training her religiously for 2 weeks. And today was the day where I saw actually yesterday, because I went and trained yesterday, too, was where I was like, oh, her sniffing's back.
Yeah.
And one of the other people that I had just done a private with not too long ago, we actually had the discussion based on hide placement because her dog didn't have the stabilization in the back end that he necessarily would need in order to source a high hide.
Right.
So before we even started the problem, we had the discussion on what was going to be an acceptable alert location so that she could reinforce the dog where it was at.
Yeah.
And that's really important to understand not only the limitations, but then also how you compensate. I'll tell you, I'm pretty good at compensating, and my right hip will tell you when my right knee hurts.
Yep.
At all that compensation. And then what are you doing to try and overcome that?
Yeah.
So I'm now back to ice is my friend. So unfortunately.
Yeah, I've been doing that like gel that's like that the icy hot type of stuff, but it's apparently the one I found it has like 7% menthol.
Oh.
It's amazing.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, yeah. But you put it on. So I have a box of gloves, like nutshell gloves. Like that's what I put it on with, because you don't want to like take out your contacts or anything after that.
That would stink.
Really that is really bad. Really
something you mentioned about compensation. That's something that I've really seen with Yukon, because he had elbow dysplasia kind of injury there's a small fragment of bone that moves into his elbow, and we ended up going to Colorado, and they finally diagnosed it there with CAT scans. And then they found a torn tendon in his shoulder. And so he had both shoulders and elbow operated on all at the same time. And it was little things, and it was those compensation points. And to see the muscles and those CAT scans and the x-rays, and to see the compensation in the muscles, with Checkmate just recently, seeing the difference about now how his right hip is the one we got to compare, which was kind of cool. So we got to compare from when he was, what was it, like 2 years old to where he is now at 5 years old. His right hip was the stronger one then. And his left hip got replaced back then. And looking at the muscles, it almost looks like they just flipped the x-rays now between two.
Oh, interesting.
Because now his right hip, there's barely any muscle on that leg, and there's that that kind of ilio muscle that's up above. And it's bulging out on his left side, and on his right side, it's almost sunken in. It's so small. And seeing that progression, I kept saying, just in the last month or so, like really 2 months, he is just limping more. He's doing less. So I started to kind of worry that, maybe it's not just his hip. Maybe he hurt his knee or his ilio or something else. And he said, no matter what it is, look at the muscle wasting here and how much he's compensating. And that's when we talked about down his spine, how his fur was kind of going a different direction. And so I had Dr. Dice and them look at that in Ohio, and they were like, yes, he has been compensating so much. And that's why his front shoulders are becoming bigger and bulkier, because they're supporting more of what's happening in the back. And like when Bobby said, 60% is already in the front and 40% is in the back. And now you put even more weight on the front. And I'm noticing even his feet are taking the abuse. And so these are all things I wouldn't have thought to even look at or understand without having, those guidance points. And it's about knowing the appropriate exercises. And so that also goes back to, we have to know our bodies because I'm not going to make him do stuff that makes him hurt. And the same with Yukon. I could see that things weren't the same. And I could see that it was weird, because to me, it was weird. His front left elbow was the one that was damaged. But it was his back right leg that I kept seeing the limping in. And it's that diagonal compensation. And I didn't know about that because I don't come from the horse world like you guys do. And that's where all of that kind of cross-pollination happens too.
Well, my diagonal awareness comes from Jenks. Jenks is my little border collie that at the age of 10 months broke his growth plate on his front left foot. And he goes in for chiropractic every 8 weeks, because I can always tell when I look at him from behind and I'm watching him walk away from me, there's typically more dog on the right side of his spine than on the left side of his spine. Yeah, it's really weird. But his broken leg is on that front left. And so he compensates, and he's getting really bad arthritis in the right rear, because he always spins one way because he's favoring that front left. Right. And so this is, he's on some supplements because he's got really bad arthritis and all of these other things. And even Moses did this because of all of the arthritis from the pounding that he took as a disaster dog in his front feet. It showed, and he popped his rear ACL, right rear ACL. But so he was compensating for all of the, Mr. Disaster Dog who went all over the United States running on rubble piles and pops an ACL in the backyard barking at cows.
Well, that's what happens though.
Right.
Quinn did it when he jumped out of the truck. All the cool stuff we had done. And it's when he got out of the truck. Really?
Yeah.
I worry about Powder, because even though I don't ask her to do stuff like that, she just does it. Right. So we're at I'm at an Airbnb right now, right, for the month. And they've got a deck on the back. And it's a raised deck, right? So it's probably a good 4.5 feet maybe more, 5 feet off the ground, right? Well, Powder, right? There are steps that go down off the left. I let her out and she thinks steps are optional, right?
I have a puppy who thinks steps are optional.
No. She goes through the railing. She's like, why do I have to turn left?
Oh my goodness.
Right? Turn left.
Just go straight.
To go down the steps so I can just go through the railing and leap out into oblivion and land and then take off running.
Great.
I'm glad I'm only here for, 4 weeks, but I'm like, but she does stuff like that all the time.
Will you be surprised when I tell you that Yukon at my parents' house, he just jumps off the landing? So that he doesn't even go to the stairs. He just jumps off the landing. And twice he jumped off the landing into the tree. So yeah, I get it.
No, I'm not surprised. These are you're on top of the house dogs. So
yeah. Sometimes you just go, why? So he's pulled it off twice, and I've had to manage now, so we don't get to go out of that door the way that I can't just open the door and let him go outside now.
Yeah.
Most dogs go down the stairs. I hear you.
I know. I'm like
going with you here.
What? She's like, but it's right there. I can just jump through it.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
No, we have preposition dogs. they activate all the prepositions. Over, around, through.
And she just, like I said, I'm not asking her to do crazy crap. She just does it, and it's just kind of honestly, it's probably her genetics that are making her do it. But my genetics made me do it. But
And I think about all of this, knowing what you can and you can't do and all of these other sorts of things. And then it was actually really interesting for me to see the remarks on our interview with Melissa about the search and rescue sport.
Yeah.
That looks fun, by the way. That looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. And thinking about all of the people who might have a little bit of an older dog, Moses would have loved that.
Yeah.
And something to keep him bright and engaged and involved that they could do, and even have the opportunity to explore some, okay, so maybe you want to try tracking or trailing.
Yeah.
That might be fun.
Yep.
Ooh, that right there might be fun. I just spent some time with a friend, and that was something that she's having amazing training now that she's doing some freestyle with their dog as just a fun thing to do.
Oh, cool.
But the air quotes serious training of the thing that she wants to accomplish with their dog, she's getting kind of some frustration barking. And so the question was, when is your dog not doing the barking or not doing the behaviors that are not desired? It's, well, we do freestyle. Well, why is that? And so that's where something like what Melissa was sharing with us, that for a lot of people might be a way of taking the pressure of search and rescue off and being able to do the skills and build them in a way that's fun for you and your dog, and then transfer those to become a search and rescue handler even, or trainer, but just take the pressure off. And I think that's so much of what everybody has said in the last 4 episodes. Between our self-compassion, it was take the pressure off. It was Liz, take the pressure off. Don't do things that hurt. If it hurts, you won't want to do it. And then Bobby, take the pressure off. Instead of making your dog lift their paw and forcing them to do it, hey, let's let them lift their own paw. And instead of pushing on them to make them shift their weight, let's use their big fat head. And if I just walk over here, when they turn and look, well, guess what? They shifted their weight. And with Melissa, take the pressure off of not having to find this person that, their life could be in danger if you can't find them. And right now it's cool. We're going to have fun. We're going to do it as a sport. And I just love this. I feel, and maybe it's because I'm super sensitive to it right now as a high school teacher.
Yeah.
I'm seeing my kids have so much pressure on themselves. I have freshmen in my pack time. I see them once a week, and they all are super high achieving. They all they put 100% as their goal grade. I'm like, okay, let's try this again. So
let's have some expectation management, people.
Wow.
And we went over SMART goals, about being attainable. Is this something that is reasonable? And they're like, oh yeah, I can do this. And several of them they're keeping it at 100%. And we're like on week, whatever, 6 or 7. I'm like, dude, you're blowing my mind. Here's something that I actually told one of the kids today, and she looked at me so confused. And maybe it's something, and I goes back to what one of them, I think it was Bobby that said, you have to be exposed to it over, and then over time you start to get more. But I was one of those really overachieving, go figure. I know you wouldn't guess that. And I had to work really, really hard in school, like between like minor dyslexia and my ADHD, like I had to work hard. And she is kind of the same. And she has over 98% in every class.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, here's a little hack for you. 90 and above is an A.
That's right. The 98 is not going to help your GPA more than a 90.
No.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Actually,
she looked
I don't
at
really
me
know how GPAs work anymore. It's been a while.
none of these were weighted classes. And I just said, I want you to not feel the pressure that I see, that I see in you right now. And I feel that with so many of the kids, just giving them that permission to breathe a little. Now, if that parent, they're probably like, what? You're telling my kid not to work so hard?
You're telling my kid to slack off. What's wrong with you?
But it was a lesson. It took me a long time. I would think I was like a junior in college before I learned that lesson. It's an important lesson. And that's where I feel like with our dogs, we put too much pressure on ourselves and too much pressure on them. And it just takes the fun away.
Oh, totally.
And let me give everybody a little life hack along those lines. As someone who has dogs, trains dogs, has a farm, runs a small business or two, sometimes done is good enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be done perfectly. And that is actually one of those things that, well, one, being on a farm kind of teaches you the hard way. And sometimes I was actually walking out today and just being like, I don't know why I'm so mentally exhausted. And I really started thinking about back through my entire day and the amount of decision fatigue that I had because of all of the choices I was having to make. And this is why a lot of people, you have closets that need cleaned out because, oh my gosh, there's like lots of decisions that have to be made when you do that. But decision fatigue is a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So back to the whole self-care. And when you're mentally exhausted, because training is exhausting.
Yep.
Good training is exhausting.
Yeah.
Bad training can be very frustrating, but good training is exhausting.
Yeah. Because
you have to take into considerations all of those separate things that could go into your training problem.
Mm-hmm.
And still not put pressure on yourself to be perfect in doing it.
Correct.
I'm not there yet. By
it's
the way,
all data.
I'm just like.
No, the game changer for me there is everything that you observe when you're paying attention to your training. It's just data collection. It's just information.
Yep.
So there's no emotional baggage. It's just information.
Very
and
true.
now I know how to adjust, and I don't have to put pressure on myself that it was good or it was bad or there's judgment. I liked this. I wish this would have happened. And I wonder if I do this next time, if it'll fix it, because now I have my data to move forward. It's just information.
Like sometimes it is just information. I had I've been having students set hides for me since I've been training and down here in Florida, because I've been doing a lot of in-person coaching and everything. And I had one student set hides, and a couple of the hides didn't work out. But I think she felt kind of bad, like, she couldn't find him. And I'm like, no, I said, this is actually great information here. I said, because even though the hides themselves didn't work out, I got some amazing training in because of it. So for instance, she had set a couple hides that were along like this, like a chain link fence, right? And the way that the wind was blowing, the odor was actually blowing the opposite direction. But there were hides over on another bleacher that were blowing odor into the set of bleachers that was near the chain link fence. And so, as she said, oh, you missed the two over there. So I brought Brava over there, and she's working off leash, and she's working so nicely. There was this big pile of peanut shells on the ground. And not only could I tell that my dog was in diffuse odor, so it was such great training for me to recognize that my dog was in diffuse odor and that she was nowhere near source, because I knew she had already sourced the two hides over there in the other bleachers. And I knew it was blowing in. And I'm like, that's where this odor is coming from. Number one. And number two, well, there's a bunch of things here. Number two, Brava ignored the peanut shells and actually continued to work the diffuse odor because I kept her in the area. And then I was like,
and she didn't false alert.
She didn't false alert. And she's
Nice.
a pink dog, right? She's a fringy pink dog. She didn't false. She didn't eat the peanut shells. She didn't quit. She's working like digging deep in the heat, working off leash, doing beautifully. And I told my student, she's like, oh, she felt bad that the odor was blowing out. I'm like, no, this is great, because I was able to work her in this situation and find out some really cool things about my dog and feel really good about where we were and how we could come together. And I felt really great about my dog, and I felt good about my observation skills. And I told the hides, I don't care if we find them, because honestly, where the odor was blowing, we weren't going to find them. So it doesn't matter. But it just, sometimes like it is just information, but sometimes that information is really good information, even if you don't find the hides.
Oh, yeah.
It just triggered that thought. And I'm just like, it was so cool. It made me feel great.
Well, and this is, I just did a webinar the other night. And one of the things I really want people to understand is you can set out 5 hides. And if the dog does super fabulous on hide 2,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yep.
That goes back to that pressure and expectations. Oh my gosh, we have to do all 5 hides because we set them out. No, you could do 2, put the dog in the truck, play a game of Candy Crush on your phone, and then run the last couple of hides and you're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfectly okay. So it's just something that I really.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks success is always finding everything. And actually success is learning how your dog works.
Yep.
And failing.
And failing.
I mean, there's so much to be learned there, and understanding what failing means. So some people would say, because you didn't find the odor, that's failing. And I just see it as the opportunity to learn, like what you said. And that's why I liked in that Scent for Six class that I took with Joe Rosie in the School of Canine Science, one of the drills they had us do kind of early on when our little Kong pieces were getting smaller, we would hide 5 in a wall. And just to remember where they were, that was the hard part, remembering where they were.
That's actually quite difficult.
Yeah. Yes. And what Nando gave a great idea, and he said that to make a letter. So like I'd make a letter W.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So that way I kind of knew where things were, because I remember that letter so like an R, or I used a lot of W's and R's because those were like good visual for me, So I'd have like the points of the W, or like with the R, I'd have the top of the R, the bottom leg, and then where it intersects with the curve.
Like if you've got them on the wall, it's in the shape of an R. I'm trying to picture this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Or as a K, or just whatever. But what I loved about that was we weren't supposed to find all of them.
Yeah.
We were supposed to let the dog work, and we take in the information as to, well, which ones did they find? Did they find all the low ones? Did they find all the high ones? How did they search? And so you get to observe and learn more about your dog. And
that's cool.
Yeah. And it takes the pressure off of you too, because you don't have to have them find them all, and it's going to be successful. And so the more successful repetitions you can build, the more confidence you build for yourself and your dog. And that's been a game changer right now for Radish and me. Our world is really coming together, and it feels so wonderful. I had a really nice training session here with a couple friends, and I said, I need to make some decisions. Is this for her? Like, is she any good at this? Like, do I need to just give up on this? And I just need you guys to watch and be real and look at us with fresh eyes, because we haven't trained together in a long time. And the best advice that they gave was, she is lacking confidence and you are lacking confidence in her. And I thought, you know what? I know you're right. I would say it as well. I totally agree. But that's the game changer you have to have. And as soon as I put more confidence in her, oh, wow. I realized I started setting up problems that were building more confidence because we were building more success. And I wasn't looking for the shortcomings.
Yep.
And I was being more setting her up for problems that could create more success to build more confidence, that then when there were failures, they weren't even failures in my mind. They were just teachable moments.
That's awesome.
And it's amazing how that slight little difference totally changed. So I am so indebted to the people that I train with and that have such nice, fresh eyes.
That's awesome.
The mental perspective thing that you just shared is so incredibly important. I also know that my mental attitude is directly affected to the sun, which we haven't seen in several days. So I know that I need to go take my vitamin D.
And it's cold.
And it's cold. And muddy.
I can't relate. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Just imagine cold and wet and painful.
Yes.
No, I can't. It's summer here.
Yeah. But one of the games, and Crystal, you're going to have to tell me what it's I started calling it the Fabulous 50 because I couldn't remember what it was called.
Kathy Sadeo's Smart 50.
Oh, Smart 50. So give us the rules, because I think if everybody would do this with the dog that they are struggling with, or even the human that they are struggling with, it might change their world.
So I think it's C, mark, and reward training or reinforced training. And you're supposed to set aside 50 treats. Now it could be 50 pieces of kibble. Like, think about your dog's waistline, so be smart. So not 50 pieces of steak a day. Ooh, that sounds delicious. But the idea is that throughout your day, and you can do it for each of your dogs. So have it set up, or you could do it for one dog, whatever you need to work on, but it trains you to look for the good in your dog. The more that you reinforce the behaviors you want, the more those behaviors will happen. So if your dog is relaxing, just go over and give them one of the pieces of kibble. If they are sitting nicely and they're not bothering anybody, which is what you want, go over and give them their piece and find 50 behaviors, 50 things that your dog does every day, and reinforce those things. And all of a sudden, you'll start to realize your dog does a lot of unbelievable things. One of the things that I saw on one of the Facebook reels in a little rabbit hole, the professor wrote down 10 problems on the board. And on the 10th one, he made a mistake on it on purpose. And the kids all giggle and snicker. And he's like, not a single person would congratulate me for the first 9. But the one I made the mistake on, everybody pointed it out and it became a big deal. And that's the same thing that I think happens a lot of times in our lives with our dogs. It's that barking. Oh my gosh, they won't shut up. How many times do they actually bark? Maybe once, one little session
no,
of
like
it,
50.
Yeah, but I mean, there was just one event of it, or it's just that little annoying thing that they'll do. But they did all this other outstanding things, but we didn't notice it and we didn't congratulate that. And it's minor. I'm not saying to mark and big party and reward. This is just go set it down. Just there's a thing. That's Smart 50, basically.
And this so applies to not only all the dogs in your life, but all the people in your life.
Be so great if we were nice to each other.
It would. And I think about it's kind of interesting. I have actually started really trying to say thank you a lot more, even for what people might think are benign, weird things. I've done this to my husband, and he's like, "You're welcome." He's like, "What do you need now? Are you bringing home another donkey or what?"
Check the minivan.
Yeah, never mind.
But what surprised me is, so I'm thinking about this from we had that pre-conversation before that we started recording, and how you guys are in the Midwest. You're already polite.
We are. Sort of. and we've got that Midwestern nice thing going on.
Right. So now you have the thing.
We're not Canadian, though.
We aren't.
We're not there yet. We're not that level yet.
But I also think about the fact I have a lot of students and people who are not from the Midwest. And so, it's not an uncommon day where I'm having conversations with people in 4 different time zones, 4 different times of my day.
Yeah.
And so just being really conscious of that and thinking about literally how I can throw Smart 50 treats through a phone or through a Zoom call or on a Facebook post is actually a whole reinforcement adventure.
Well, even just how you shift your thinking. So the Smart 50 shift is start looking for the good.
Yes.
But some people will say, okay, what was it that you did that was nice for somebody today? I think something even more powerful than that. What have you seen that someone else did that was nice for someone else? That little bitty shift really has a huge impact in how your day goes, because you start to look at other people and their actions, and it takes you even further outside of yourself. And the more positive you see, the more positive that you start to also put out. And then it also translates back into my dog training, and it just, that ripple, love it.
Yep.
Make that wave. You guys, we're almost out of time.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like we got a little off topic. Well, no, it's still on self-care, and
it's all self-care.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that the things, I guess my takeaways from the conversations with Liz, Bobby, and Melissa is the habit stacking. And I even look at the exacting behaviors that IRO is asking out of their dogs for sport, kind of like Mondio Ring and all this other stuff that I don't do. Yet.
She had something else to do.
Yeah. Right.
Retirement sport.
It's all about the little tiny incremental steps, whether it's stretching for 2 minutes, while you're watching Investigative Discovery, not like I haven't started doing that, or taking the 2 minutes to warm up your dog before you send them out on a rubble pile. Those sorts of things, it all builds on one another.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, it was starting to look at things more holistically and, less thinking about just training my dog, right? It's about how do I get my dog in the best physical shape to be able to do the job that I'm asking them to do. And whether that's searching or honestly, Brava just got spayed, right? So I'm trying to get her back in shape so she can do agility. I don't want to just put her on an agility course and expect her to be able to use her body that way. So, it's thinking about that, and then also thinking about how I can take care of myself physically. I'm even trying to get more sleep lately, just because I've also got I know, crazy, right? So I'm trying to be, a better partner for my dog too. So it's like some self-care so I can be a better partner for my dog, and then helping her or whatever dog I'm working, right, to be as physically fit as they can be to be able to do the job that I'm asking to. And I feel like when you put those two pieces together with really good training, you're putting yourself in the best position possible. And I think if you're able to do that, that's ideal. And that's what I'm trying to do. So that was kind of my takeaway. And I just really like the different perspectives, honestly. So
takeaways for me, I'm going to start with stretching. When you start with stretching and mobility, then you can start to feel some progress. That little bit of progress then makes you think you can do a little more because you feel a little better. Yeah. And then as you start to feel better, your strength gets a little better. And then as your strength gets a little better, you start to really comprehend that dog training is very physical and very demanding. And when you can do more, well, then your dog gets to do more because you feel better. And then when you realize that 90% is still an A and you don't have to be perfect, and that you should put your veggies in the refrigerator door so that way you see them and they don't go bad. And all of your good, healthy stuff is right there in your eye view. Life hacks, friends. That all of it starts to come together. And it all just started because you started with 3 minutes of stretching a day. So it's amazing to think that all of this progress can start with 3 minutes of stretching a day. I think I can commit to that. How about you?
I'm starting with 2 because I'm already there. I'll get
I'm
to
absolutely
3.
stretching every day. I love it. I love it.
But it just blows my mind that all that can happen just by stretching.
I did the pause there just for comedic.
Well, so I am going to ask our listeners after this episode on the Facebook post when we post this to commit, if they want, to that 3 minutes or 2 minutes of stretching a day. And we would greatly appreciate hearing that or whatever other thing that you're going to start habit stacking to either help make your life, your or dog's life, or both your lives and your training better.
And tomorrow is the last day to sign up for Liz and Bobby Lyons classes. They all close on the 15th. So make sure you sign up for the classes. Get in there. They're in the show notes. Get in there.
It's in the show notes. So thanks everybody for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
Canine Detection Collaborative! We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to k9detectioncollaborative.com. That's K9detectioncollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.